So as I promised, here is a charts for my dog Oreo. We were fortunate enough to know his birth time and date because my son's best friend at the time had told him that she was going to have corgi mix puppies, that we were finally, after 10 years, going to let him have a dog. So we thought, okay, we'll do this. So it turns out he was not a corgi mix. He was a beagle mix, uh, quarter lab, 3/4 beagle, and we've learned a lot about beagles since he's been around. In my natal chart, his asteroid Oreo is exactly conjunct my Gagnero, and my moon degree is his Saturn. His ascendant degree is my descendant, and his descendant is my ascendant. His midheaven is positive sextile to my Gianna and trine to my 12th house Venus. I know that this here is also my son's Gianna. No, my son's Gianna is 13 degrees. Anyway, sextile to that Saturn. So there's a lot of synastry between all of our charts, along with his. He's got a lot of fire energy. He's a Sagittarius rising. Uh, his own asteroid here sits in Aries. He's a Leo moon. He's very active, except for when he's not. Um, Funny story here. This Neptune at his IC, besides the confusion over what breed he was, we also chose him. He was supposed to, we were going to take a girl, and it wound up that the girls were given away to somebody else, and so we had to choose from the boys, and he was the one that was laying there quietly, kind of lazy, sleepy, while the other ones were all frisking around in the yard. So I said, there's my dog right there, the lazy one. Well, he fooled me, good old Neptune. um, we had one heck of a time getting him housebroken. He gets a lot of anxiety and has chewed up all of our furniture and, I mean, eaten the drywall, and just, the first year was really rough. We've had him for 2 years now. He's very smart. I've never seen a dog. He likes to play with balloons, and he can very carefully move them around where he gets the tie end in his mouth, carries it around all proud, and wants you to throw it for him. Goes through the same routine again and again. He can tell he won't eat. You can't hide a pill in a hot dog. You can't try to sneak any kind of medication in him. You actually have to put it down his throat. Um, Calming chews I've tried giving to him, crumbling them on his food, and he can tell everything. He'll only eats meat. He has never liked dog food. I've tried many different brands and have resorted to just feeding him straight meat. I should mention that asteroid Doga squares my moon in my natal chart. I've had many dogs over the years, and one thing or another has happened that they were passed on, and this one I was determined we're keeping him. Uh, we're going to get through all this. We all sat down and watched Marley when he was in his housebreaking phase. So he's part of the family, and that's just the way it is. Now you see here, speaking of Doga, his Doga here in the 8th house at 12:15 is opposite his Saturn, uh, which is also my moon degree, as I mentioned. My husband's nickname is opposite my son's nickname in his chart, and those square his moon. My husband and my son will get to playing really rough, and he does not like it whatsoever. He gets really upset. So they have to calm down. Some other interesting things here. My Gianna is conjunct his Oreo here. His Oreo connects to my Ginky. Square Mars in the 7th. Uh, Anger, frustration, movement. He sees anybody moving outside the window, he is there barking at them. There's also a thing with my husband. He got really sick one night, and it kind of softened my heart on Oreo that first year that was so rough. Because my husband had gotten really, really sick, and he was laying on the floor, and I was rubbing his back, and Oreo just came up to me and sat down and leaned into me quietly. He realized that the situation was serious, and I petted him with one hand and petted my husband with the other, waiting to see what would happen, if I need to call an ambulance or not. So, he knew. Uh, my husband's legal name is here near his vertex. Wild is also near his vertex here, and those are opposite Pluto. Uh, Black Moon Lilith and Gagnero are conjunct here. The little girl's name that gave us the dog is conjunct his Eris. And over here, Phallus, the beginning of something, is conjunct his Quaor, which I have spelled wrong here, near his birth family name. Our last name connects to his Saturn and to his Doga, to our county, to his nodes, South Node and North Node here. To his Nessus here. So, yeah, that's just his natal chart there. We'll move on. This is a composite chart with my son, and I highlighted these so I could see them right off. Vesta, the caretaker, is opposite Mars in the composite chart. Gibson is my son's cat, and I thought it was funny plugging it in that it's conjunct Saturn. The cat used to come in the house all the time, but as soon as Oreo took over, there's no way. Gibson just will not come in the house, so my son doesn't get to see her as often. And as you can see, Gibson and Saturn are opposite my son's nickname here. We have Beagle also conjunct here with the Saturn, and that is connecting here to the birth family's name, their last name. Our last name and Neptune and the vet's address are all together here at 11 degrees. Uh, Oreo hates going to the vet. He likes the car ride, but he gets really upset and nervous about going to the vet. We have to give him trazodone to calm him down some to have to go for anything. The Saturn, Beagle, Gibson all square to the Oreo here. Our quincunx to the Doga here. So our house, misspelled again. I get typing too fast. Our house and South Node are conjunct here at 18 degrees, opposite the North Node. Texas sits right on the 12th house cusp. The little girl's name and Pax, soul contracts, are both 28 degrees here, right near Gagnero in the 7th house. And that connects to Phallus, the beginning of something, Quaor. my husband's name and my son's name that ends in the NIA, his uh, legal name, are conjunct here at 7 degrees, opposite the birth family's last name. And then those connect by trine positively over here to Gianna. Let's see. Our county name is in positive sextile to the Juno. They have a first house Juno, committed relationships, soul contracts. The moon, the 12th house moon, is trine to the birth family and makes connections around the chart, anything around 7 to 11 degrees. Their midheaven here is in Cancer. That's Cancer rules home and family, the mother, intuition. Love and compassion. Um, there are times that my son gets really upset with him because he'll, tear up one of his favorite things, or he doesn't do it as much anymore, but he'd be like, "Oh, get rid of him. I'm tired of him." And then most of the other time it's, "Oh, I love him so much. He's my best friend." And he bounces back and forth. My son's nickname is also semi-sextile here to Doga. I think I already mentioned that. All right, so yeah, lots of connections all the way around to all of us. And that was the composite chart for my son and Oreo. This is the composite chart for myself and Oreo. So again, I highlighted something exact degree, 9 degrees, 49 minutes is the birth family's last name, and the son's nickname in our composite chart opposite each other. We have a Pisces rising, Sagittarius midheaven. It's kind of a spiritual purpose. Gianna is conjunct the Neptune. Gianna and our county are both 27 degrees, and all of these are opposite Uranus, and they connect to the Pluto. One of the things I've done, like I said, I've been tracking him since we got him. I did charts for the day we got him, and I track his different vet visits, which I'll show in a minute, uh, including the whatever the tech's name is at the time and all. Um, it also those all connect to our street. Uranus, let's see, 6. Okay. All right. So down here we have Texas and Ginky are exactly conjunct. Ginky being my childhood nickname. Did you have seen any of my other visits? We have Ascalaphus and Sun are conjunct here, along with Eris. I mentioned he does not like going to the vet, and Ascalaphus is a medical. Back to that 7 degree Ginky in Texas that connects here to the Saturn and the North Node on the second house cusp. Pax is also a 27 degree. Aureola here is square to the Mercury. Imagine that. Like I said, there was a lot of frustration that first year, definitely. And connects to the vet's address and chaos, which looky there, they're conjunct. which connects to the vet street. And Vesta, the vet's last name, and Wild are all conjunct. Esculapia here squares the ascendant and descendant. My husband's nickname is another one of those 27 degrees that connects around. Phallus connects to Asclepius here, to the moon, and the moon squares Asclepius. We have a nice T-square here. Quaoar. Hygeia and Karma are conjunct at 24 degrees, which makes it quincunx, the Mercury. And then trine to Oreo here. Asteroid Doga is across the Chiron. Connects to the black moon Lilith here at 12, almost 12 degrees. Nessus, the troublemaker, connects to Jupiter by a square. Jupiter, of course, rules the spiritual path. So yeah, that's our composite chart. All right, so I wound up having to take Oreo to the vet the other day with the assistance of my daughter. Uh, somebody has to hold him still in the car so he doesn't climb in my lap while I'm driving. 50 pounds of Beagle is not fun to drive around. So he was really acting up at the full moon uh, when it was up here at his midheaven opposite his IC, and chaos here was on his Mars. Uh, he did this thing where he was running across the house and he leaped up on me, bounced off and slid down, ripped my leg open with his nails, and ran back to the other side of the house. I mean, just crazy, crazy, crazy. So that prompted me to get that appointment made. He needed a heartworm test and another nail clipping since he eats only meat. I did forget to point out in his natal all this heavy Taurus here. He likes what he likes, and he only likes what he likes. Very stubborn Taurus energy in him. And of course, our last name here was on his Mars at the time as well. So, yay. Okay, so yeah, we wound up taking him to the vet because it was just time. And so Oriola by transit here is at 517. And of course that squares over here to Gagnero and Ceres, trine to the south node, sextile to the north node here. And opposite the tech at the vet, her name was Alyssa, and real sweet girl. I used two different asteroids, Alyssa Chan and Alyssa Rose, because there's rose bushes there at the vets. That Oreo loves to go sniffing. So anyway, that's at 6:02 here, opposite Oreo. He was really calm for her. Aesculapius here. I just crossed over Ginkgo about the time that I made the appointment. Opposite Gianna here. And Gianna and the vet's address are conjunct here. those would connect over to Oriola and to his natal Gianna. Texas had just crossed over it. Let's see. Juno and Asclepius are transiting together here. Eris at 2411 was on his Ceres, and Ascalaphus and his own Eris. Discord for positive change. We had to get that heartworm test so we can get his new pills. I didn't mention it in his last in the other natal chart I had pulled up, but his vet doctor's last name here is conjunct Vesta, and of course that would connect to this and to Oreo and to Alyssa Chan. Not sure where Alyssa Rose is. Oh, back to the ones and twos. We have Hygeia here and taking care of your health. Saturn, doctors. And Oreo. Let's see. Transit Doga had crossed over our last name. The Vet Street here at 24 degrees. Connected to his moon. Midheaven. Beagle. Juno. And was quincunx, Asclepius, and Beagle. Like I've said before, the quincunx I've seen over and over as a kind of a karmic timing event. It connects to his Neptune here. The vet's last name was transiting here at his IC. Oh, and the vet's street here. No, I was reading it wrong. I was thinking it was 24 degrees here. Anyway, you kind of get the idea if you connect the green which goes this way around, unless it's retrograde, to the black, you can make the connections there. Okay, and then one last chart. Here's the Progressed Composite for Oreo and myself. Ceres is retrograde back over the ascendant and the south node, opposite Texas on the descendant and the vertex, and the north node here. At the midheaven here, in our Progressed Composite, we have Vesta, the caretaker. Transit Oriola had crossed over the midheaven. And of course, that's opposite transit Alyssa Chan, which was conjunct our last name in the Progressed Composite. When I do this, I like to go around and look for conjunctions. We have the vet's last name and Mars are conjunct here at the 1 degree mark. Progressed Composite, it doesn't stay static like the regular composite would. The Progressed Composite is the chart of the relationship now. So with all the 1 degrees, that would connect around to anything else. We have Nessus at 2 here, a little troublemaker, and kind of connects to the ascendant and descendant at 3 degrees, the vertex. Ergo, the ergo spot is an interesting quantum theory. Gianna here at 220. which is conjunct transit the vet's address at 243, that are opposite Aesculapius here. Let's see. Of course, 29 degrees would be conjunct 1 degree. And Hygeia here at 122. And that's conjunct the Progressed Composite Jupiter. And opposite the Progressed Composite Alyssa Chan. Let's see, what else do we have? Anything fascinating? The vet's last name here. And the Sun and Nessus and all are opposite Karma and Hygeia in the Progressed Composite here. Seems like there was something over this direction. My son's Aries stellium, if you happen to hear him in the background hollering at his online friends. A little quick burst of anger he gets. Yay. So anyway, Progressed Composite Doga is opposite Saturn again still. Venus had crossed Eris when I made the appointment. Of course, Chiron and Jupiter and Vesta are all conjunct currently right now. And had crossed the Chiron being doctors. Beagle and Esculapia here are opposite the Progressed Composite part of Fortune and Moon. And also connects up here to the Progressed Composite vet's address. No, I did it again. To the chaos anyway. To the vet street there. I knew I'd found something right in that area. And 23, 24. No. Our house opposite Saris. Saris being nurturer, caretaker. Ginky here and Phallus are opposite Asclepius. So yeah, as you see, I'm sure there's more that I can point out. There's an Alyssa Rose by transit 1213 Pisces. So that would have connected to the Doga and Saturn in the natal chart. Connects to the Juno here. Black Moon Lilith. The Chiron. And he really liked her. So one thing I've just noticed that I've done several dog charts and people charts that have their dogs, plug the dog's name in. And like my one girlfriend, her dog's name sat on her son. I mean, it was, she was really, really into him and posted lots of pictures online. And he passed away not too long ago, though. And then another friend, her dog had a tragic accident, and I charted all of that, as well as a dream she had of him later. Very interesting to track. Another friend had a lot of dogs of one particular breed, and has lost them to cancer. I think 5 of them now. But, played with his charts too with those dogs, and one of the dog's charts doing the composite and learning. So just something very interesting if you ever get to know your pet's name. I mean, it's not just dogs. Asteroid Doga does work for that. I cannot recall what it was for cat, but names are important. It's just kind of the way it is. So thank you for watching. and have fun looking around at them.